kept you waiting, huh?
I'm back, baby.
Hi there. Been a while. I've been busy. I'm sorry. No, this is not the promised Mac Menser video. Why? Because I want to make this video first. What's this one about, you ask? Well, read the title. But for those of you who still want to hear it, today you're going to listen to me talk about creatine. Look, if you've stepped foot in a gym before, you probably heard of it before. But there are a lot of views on the subject and even more misconceptions. If you're young and told your parents about your desire to start supplementing with creatine, you've probably heard one of those. Oh, so you want to start taking steroids then? I've heard that stuff will make your kidneys fail. You want to lose your hair already? Before I start babbling about what it does, I want to go into these 3 statements so you can tell your parents that creatine is not a health hazard and factually prove your point. Let's talk about the steroid accusations. No, creatine is not a steroid. It can lead to similar advantages when it comes to strength training, but chemically speaking, creatine is not an anabolic steroid. Even the FDA says so. It fits into the guidelines of the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994 and is therefore not a controlled substance, such as testosterone, for example. I will get into how creatine works a little later and give you a comparison to anabolic steroids as well. Before that, let's check if creatine supplementation causes kidney damage. Short answer is no. If your parents or whoever pulls up the study from 1998 about the link between creatine supplementation and renal failure, be sure to let them know that since then there have been countless studies and over 20 years of research poured into the white stuff, and there has never been any significant increase in cases of renal failure or kidney disease. Of course, there are studies who claim that creatine causes problems in the kidneys, but let it be known that most of them have been confounded by medication or previous kidney disease diagnoses. Lastly, let's get into the hair loss thing. It stems from a study by Merva and colleagues who investigated the effects of creatine supplementation over 3 weeks on college rugby players in 2009. Results found a significant increase in DHT levels, which in turn can lead to hair loss. It's important to note, though, that DHT levels don't necessarily correlate with creatine supplementation and/or hair loss. The results of the study have never been replicated, and strength or resistance training can cause DHT levels to rise as well. In a handful of studies, it has been refuted that creatine has an effect on the testosterone or DHT levels, rendering the assumption that creatine causes hair loss moot. Alright, first order of business is to explain what creatine is before we jump into what it does. Creatine is a naturally occurring compound made up of amino acids. It is synthesized from different chemical reactions, which I won't even try to pronounce. Pause the video and read it if you're interested. Basically, we produce it ourselves. But in order for our tissue to maintain normal creatine levels, we need to consume red meat and fish, or supplement it. 95% of creatine is stored in muscle tissue, and the remainder is divided up and stored in the heart and brain, among others. The normal amount of creatine for a 70 kilogram person on a diet containing red meat and fish is about 120 millimoles per kilogram of dry muscle mass. Vegetarians and vegans have about 20 to 30% lower total creatine stored in muscles. Now, the body doesn't endlessly store it, but breaks it down and excretes it in the form of creatinine, about 1 to 2% per day.
I'm gonna wreck it!
Depending on diet and muscle mass, as well as physical activity level, 2 to 3 grams of creatine a day should keep the levels normal. For vegans or other people who eat less to no red meat or fish, intake should be up to 2 to 4 grams per day. In short, creatine is a compound stored primarily in the muscles, which our body creates itself, but also needs to be ingested via diet or supplementation.
Heute ist wieder Freitag, heute wieder richtig.
Okay, let's get into what creatine actually does. Put simply, creatine acts as an energy source for muscles during short bursts of energy output. So lifting heavy weights at the gym, doing high intensity interval training, or sprinting, for example. But don't take this the wrong way. Creatine is not an energy source like carbs or fats are. It doesn't get metabolized like macros, it rather speeds up the replenishing of ATP. If you don't know what ATP is, here's a short overview. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and it's the currency of energy in all living cells. It's produced in the mitochondria via cellular respiration, glycolysis, or photosynthesis. It releases energy when broken down into ADP and a phosphate group. This energy is used for almost everything, from muscle contractions to nerve impulses. After it's broken down and the energy has been released, the body recycles the ADP back into ATP. Here's where creatine steps in. See, creatine gets stored primarily in the form of phosphocreatine. when your body runs out of ATP, which normally occurs after 2 to 3 seconds of maximum effort, the stored phosphocreatine releases its phosphate group, which binds to the ADP and forms ATP.
Dap me up, my boy.
I bet.
This gives the body an extra 5 to 8 seconds of maximum energy, allowing you to squeeze out another rep or two. It doesn't only apply to gym goers though, because our body needs ATP for basically everything. Supplementing creatine and ensuring your phosphocreatine stores are always stacked, research suggests that it benefits brain health, recovery and rehab, women, who have around 70 to 80% less creatine stores than men, especially in menopause, where muscle mass and bone density suffer greatly, as well as the elderly, in preventing the loss of muscle mass. In short, creatine aids in recycling ADP into ATP, giving us an extra few seconds of energy, therefore not depleting our precious macro energy stores as fast. Another benefit of creatine is its osmotic quality. That means that the stored creatine in your muscles draw water into your muscle cells. That in turn means that your muscles will look fuller due to the extra volume of water in your cells. And who doesn't love free gains, huh? It does come with side effects though. Don't let yourself be spooked by that, because all of them can be fixed relatively easily. The biggest one is that some people experience dehydration when starting to supplement creatine. As I told you, creatine is osmotic, so it draws water into your muscle. This water stays there until it's needed elsewhere or you stop supplementing. This leads to the body having less water available, making it seem like you're dehydrated. The solution? Drink half a liter of water more a day and you're good. Simple as that. Drinking more water leads to an imbalance in electrolytes though, which can cause so-called creatine cramps. I won't go into detail on how cramps are caused, but it's enough to know that an electrolyte imbalance can cause them. Solution? Mind your electrolyte intake. Pop an electrolyte mix into 500 milliliters of water, stir it up, and drink it. That way you can kill two birds with one stone. Lastly, nausea is a side effect, often reported when taking creatine. It is caused primarily by not shaking your creatine up good enough, or dry scooping it, or taking too much at once. The undissolved creatine crystals can sit in your stomach and irritate it. So either make sure you dilute it properly, or take it with a meal. And for the love of God, don't dry scoop it. Otherwise you will regret it later. Also, don't take more than 20 grams a day. Thanks. Lastly, let's quickly talk about dosage. I will do this in rapid fire mode because I know that your attention span is greatly overloaded by now. If you go to the gym regularly, take 5 to 10 grams a day, depending on your body weight. Aim for 0.1 grams per kilogram of body weight. No, a loading phase is not necessary, but it can help you if you want to see results quickly. If you decide for a loading phase, take up to 20 grams a day for 7 days. Split it into portions though, otherwise your toilet will work overtime. If you don't train and just want to experience the health benefits of creatine, aim for 3 to 5 grams a day. Simple as that. Let's summarize our findings, shall we? Creatine is a naturally occurring chemical compound, primarily stored in the muscles, which helps our body use ATP more efficiently. It is the most studied supplement on the market, and most of the misconceptions about it have been scientifically proven wrong. It not only helps in the gym, but also in our everyday lives, having numerous health benefits. The side effects are minor and can easily be avoided. That's all you need to know about creatine. Thanks for listening and see you soon. Maybe.